Jnananandamayam devam nirmala spatikakritim adharam sarva vidyanam hayagrivam upasmahe. So we learn the sloka whenever we start something new. It is our practice to recite the Hayagriva Stotram. The deity who is filled with Ananda, who can confer on us both the Paravidya, the ultimate knowledge, and Aparavidya, all the other materialistic knowledge also. So with that knowledge, we learned about so many different things pertaining to Vedas, the Vedangas. The recent topic that we learned was about Chandas. And where can we find the first ever poetry to humankind? That is in our Adi Kavyam, Valmiki Maharishi's Itihasa, Ramayana. So Valmiki Ramayana, because today there are many Ramayanas that is available for us. What we call as Itihasa is Valmiki Ramayana. And what is the first ever sloka? Valmiki Maharishi cursed a hunter and shokat slokam agatam. From that sorrow, actually a sloka came from his mouth. And that is in Anushtup Chandas. 8 syllables for every line, 4 lines, which was 32 syllables. And that was taken as the basic meter for the entire Ramayana. Of course, there are different meters he's used, but major slokas are from the Anushtup Chandas meter itself. So let's recite the first ever Valmiki Maharishi sloka. Manishada pratishtham tvam Magamashashwati kshama Itkraunchamituna Avadhi kama mohitam. So when Valmiki Maharishi cursed, he cursed the Nishada. But then after revelation, understanding that Saraswati Mata was in his tongue and actually gave this sloka, he realized that it is Mata Mahalakshmi, Nishada, where she is permanently residing. She is residing in Bhagavan's chest. So it is about Mata Mahalakshmi and Bhagavan Vishnu as the avatars, Sita and Bhagavan Sri Rama. So the entire Ramayana, this is considered as a Mangala sloka itself. And it still appears in the Ramayana in the Balakantam itself. So we learnt about the specifics, details of this sloka. We also learned this beautiful sloka from Raghava Yadaviyam, the Anuloma Viloma Kavya, where when you read it forward, it is all about Bhagavan Sri Rama. When you read it in the reverse, it is all about the Leelas of Bhagavan Sri Krishna. So, Vandeham Devam Tam Shritam Rantaram Kalam Bhasayaha Ramo Ramadhirapyago Leela Mara Yodhyevase. So now when we reverse it, what happens? Sevadyeyo Ramalali Gopyaradhi Mara Mora Esabhalankaram Taram Vandetam Shritam Vandetam Esyabalankaram Taram Tam Shritam Vandeham Devam. So this is beautiful Leela of Bhagavan Rama, where he searches everywhere for Mata Sita and happily gets back to Ayodhya to rule. He's filled with luster because Sita Mata is now there with him. When she was not there, he was searching everywhere in the mountains for Mata Sita. And about Krishna, it speaks about Ashtamahishis. It speaks about Gopikas worshipping Bhagavan Sri Krishna and how he is like filled with effulgence. So, 2 completely different meanings from the same set of aksharas just by changing the order. A mastery in poetry, not one sloka. We have 30 such slokas making 60 different slokas when read in the reverse order, right? Now, as we progress in Chandas, there are a lot more things which will make us feel like a Wow, how can this be possible? One such thing is that today all of us are familiar with Edison, Thomas Alva Edison. He invented many things. One of the interesting things is the gramophone. So when gramophone could actually reproduce the voice for posterity, he wanted eminent scholars to come and use his gramophone. So he invited Max Muller. Max Muller was there. So he had to recite something which Edison would actually record and then play it back at a later time. So many elite guests were invited to listen to this. You know, something can record it. Think about it at those times. It was never possible. So the first time it was made possible. They used to use the gramophone, the great grandfather of our CDs and DVD drives and everything. So in the morning, Max Muller came, recited something, they recorded it. After the recording was processed, in the afternoon, the same thing was played. He asked all the eminent scholars, did you all understand? Now the scholars discussed and they said that this doesn't sound like Greek or Latin. For us only it's Greek or Latin. For them it's like Greek, Latin, we know all that, right? So this neither sounded like Greek nor Latin, it's definitely not English. What did you actually say? And then Thomas Alva Edison explained, saying that this is the very first verse in Rig Veda, the oldest treasure which is available for humans. So he recited agni meele purohitam yajnasya deva pritvitam. So everybody's like, so why did you recite this? He said, these are the things which are really to be preserved, right? So if something is possible to record all this, then that should be something which is worth recording. That is why I recited this. And he says, Rig Vedas are the oldest text available to us. So this was recorded by Max Muller in front of many elite audience in Western world. And Thomas Alva Edison had this recorded. So even now, I think you can go and Google for this information. You'll get a lot of information on this. So, Chandas. Chandas is how these Vedic mantras were preserved from time immemorial to this date. How is it the same Agni Meele which Max Muller is able to recite and which our Veda Panditas here recite? How is it that there's no difference at all? All this is because of the Chanda Shastra. The meter is so important. We earlier learnt about the other Vedangas also. Everything contributes. Chandas is the foundation to all this. This is the feet of the Veda Purusha itself. So no mistakes can ever crop in. Because we say it's oral tradition, it does not mean that it's not accurate, it's ultra accurate, right? So that is the speciality. So in Chandas, we have a concept called lagu and guru. Lagu means it's light. Guru means it's heavy. So the time taken to blink one eyelid, that is lagu. So that is lagu. Can be guru. So like that, we classify the lagu and guru. It is how long it takes. What is the akshara? There are many other rules, like how you consider samyukta akshara. If some alphabet follows something else, there are certain rules. We are not going into all that. But for a basic understanding, lagu and guru, small, large, so it is light or heavy. So based on this, a lot of information can be processed. So the Venkatesha Suprabhatam, which many of us are familiar, right? It will start with Kausalya, Supraja, Rama, Purva, Sandhya, Pravachit. So after that, we have what we call as the Venkatesha Stotram. Samala kucha chuchuka kunkumato niyatarunita tula nilatano. When we think about this Kamala Kucha, the meter is so attractive. When we listen to it, automatically we are like, feeling like some energy is increased. Kamala Kucha Chuchuka Kunkumato. So if you look at the lyrics of that, Kamala, small, big. Kamala. See, ka is small, ma is small, la is big. Kamala, kucha, chuka, kumato. So it is always small, big. Lagu, lagu, guru, lagu, lagu, guru, lagu, lagu, guru. So that is the entire way this pattern is formed. So if you look at the entire 11 slokas of Kamala Kucha, this is the pattern that will be formed. So in Chanda Shastra, this is called as the Totaka Vritti. Totaka vritti, where the pattern is lagu lagu guru. So three are combined together to form a phrase, a group gana, and there are four such gunas. Lagu lagu guru, lagu lagu guru, lagu lagu guru, lagu lagu guru. That will form one line. Similarly, the lines will be repeated over and over again. So this is the Totaka vritti. So lagu lagu guru repeated 4 times. How many aksharas will be there in each line in Totaka vritti? How many should be there? Check this out. Okay, so 12. So that is the way Totaka vritti is formed. Now, if you just think of this, there is also this other sloka which is very famous. Adharam, Maduram, Nayanam, Maduram, Madurashtakam comes, right? That is also Totaka vritti. Adharam, Maduram, Nayanam, Maduram. So that has this pattern, okay? If you look at many other slokas, it will follow some very different interesting things. The Shiva Tandava Stotram, Ravana authored it. He was climbing the Kailasha. He has this Veera Rasam, right? He is known for his strength, courage, valor, everything. So the way he composes is not going to be like very soft or smooth or something like that. So he sings like Jata Tavi Galat Jalat Tata, you know. So this is called as Bhujanga Prayasa. Yeah, in fact, the name itself comes in that Bhujanga Tunga Malikam. I'm creating a mala through Bhujanga. You know, Bhujanga Prayasa is the name of the meter, which is the meter used for valor, strength, courage, and all. In fact, Swami Sri Vedanta Deshika in his Daya Shatakam, Shatakam means 100, right? So out of the 100 slokas, for every 10 slokas, he uses a different meter. The emotions change for every 10 slokas. You know, that is a beautiful thing because the Chandas is very closely related to our emotions. You use the appropriate chandas to trigger the different kinds of emotions that's required. So in that context, let us just see another sloka. For example, Guru Ashtakam. So, Sariram Surupam Yathava Kalatram Yashascharu Chittam Dhanam Meru Tulyam Guru Rangri Padme Manaschena Lagnam Tatakim 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 Tatakim. So you have a beautiful body, Sariram, Surupam, you know, the perfect dimensions. Yathava Kalatram, a very beautiful spouse who is, you know, very conducive to whatever we want to do. Yashas charu chittam dhanam meru tulyam. You know, the heart is ideal. The monetary ways, you know, meru tulyam, you have, you know, heaps of wealth like the Meru mountain. Everything is there, you think of it. But if you do not have your mind inclined to your guru's feet, what is the use? Tatakim, 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 says Adi Shankara. So this cannot be in a meter like Bhujanga Prayasa. Because that is the Veera Rasam. Here it is completely filled with humility. So for the Guru Ashtakam, the Nirvana Shatkam also, it is like that. So they say, Shivoham, Shivoham. So the Nirvana Shatkam. All these have that very melodious crane kind of a move. So the Chandas itself is called as the Balaka Chandas. Guru Rangri Padme Manaschena Lagnam, very smooth crane-like movement. Now, Swami Deshika's Garuda Gadyam. All of us know about Garuda Dandagam. All of us know about Garuda Dandagam. So here we have 34 aksharas, one line, which is considered as a paragraph itself, right? So this will feel like as if the Garuda is moving very beautifully, swaying, growing high and all that. So here also it is the bird. But here, the Garuda is the king of birds, which is going to fly high, right? So how does this go? Garuda Makila Veda Nidadi Rudam Vishatpita Notkantita Kunta Vaikunta Pidi Kritaskanda Mida. You know, it's like swaying like this and like this, soaring high. So this entire line is one line and 34 aksharas in one line. That is Dandaka. So this is a very different way of authoring a poetry, which needs total class, and when you split, you get very, very deep meanings. So that is Garuda Dandaka. Okay. So like this, depending on the meter that we use, the bhava can change completely. Okay. So that is the importance of Chandas. And in Chandas Shastra, our great Panditas, the scholars, had so much of mathematics into it. Chandas Shastra is like pure mathematicians can enjoy it. Pingala, a great sage and a person who created the aphorisms, the sutras for Chandas. Just like how we learnt about Panini Maharishi, who created the sutras called Ashtadhyayi, right? This is also Ashtadhyayi by Pingala Rishi. So what did he do? A lot of very detailed mathematical concepts relating to meters, he created the sutras. Okay. Pingala, the name of the person. Pingala sage actually lived during 200-250 BCE. So that is the traditional sage. Okay, named after him, many people would have come at a later time. So here, I said the Chandas has the light and the heavy, right? Lagu and Guru. So how many combinations can we have by this? Now just think about it. If we have 3 beats, Lagu is 0.1, let's take. Guru is 2. So for 3 beats, we can have Lagu, 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 one combination. Lagu, Guru, another combination. Guru, Lagu, another combination. So like this, how many different combinations can you have for different set of beats? So that was created by our Chanda Shastram. Okay, it is all mentioned in the Chanda Shastram. So what happens here is, I've explained it for our understanding. I said everything is in the form of sutras, right? Sutras means something which can be expanded for us to understand. So here there is one sutra which says Yamata Raja Bhana Salaghaha. You want to repeat after me? Yamatara Jabhana Salaghaha. Yamatara Jabhana Salaghaha. I've written in English that side also. Okay. So here, when you expand it, what happens is Ya means Yagana, Yagana. So Yagana, Yagana is there, right? So what is the first 3 alphabets? Ya, Ma, Ta. So Ya is Lagu, Ma, Dirgha is there, so which means it is Guru, Ta is Guru. So Yagana would mean Lagu, Guru, Guru. So instead of expanding for every single thing, they give you like a sutra where you can expand as and when required. So the first Gana is called as the Yagana, which is Lagu, Guru, Guru. So now you start from the Magana. So what happens? Ma, Ta, Ra. So what is Ma, Guru? All the 3 things are Guru, right? Ma, Ta, Ra. Guru, Guru, Guru. So when you know Magana, it is Guru, Guru, Guru. Then what happens? Tagana. Ta, Ra, Ja. Guru, Guru, Lagu. So like this, the classification is done for all these ganas. We have 8 ganas all the way till the Sagana. So now you know what each gana stands for. So when a poet wants to write something, they will say, okay, Tagana, Gagana. So Tagana, Gagana, Jagana. So they will give you a combination. Or it can be Sagana, Sagana, Sagana. So the one we saw earlier is Sagana, Sagana, Sagana. Right? So like that, how do we apply to everything? Because Sagana, if you see, Lagu, Lagu, Guru. What did we learn in the first Kamala Kucha that we saw? Kamala Kucha Chu Chuka Kum Kumato Sagana, 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 Sagana. So everybody will know that 4 Saganas are applied. So instead of giving us Lagu, Lagu, Guru, Guru, they just say Sagana, 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 Sagana. So 4 Saganas are the pattern for this particular Chandas. That is how they define it. So here, when we know this expansion, Yamatara Jabhana Salaghaha, Laga just stands for Lagu and Guru. I have defined Lagu and Guru like this is the sutra. Okay. So when we expand it, we will get to know the different possible patterns. People use the permutation combination of this to come about with various different architectural beauty in poetry. Okay. So I have expanded this just for our example. I was telling you the different combinations we can have, right? One Lagu, one Guru, depending on the number of beats that we have, we can have combinations, right? So here, if you notice, for 3 beats, what can be the combination? Lagu, guru. Guru, lagu. Lagu, lagu, lagu. So that is the first thing that I have mentioned there. Suppose we want 5 beats. We can have lagu, guru, lagu. Guru, lagu, lagu. Lagu, 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 guru, lagu. Lagu, lagu, lagu. Guru, guru. So 4 beats, we can have 5 different combinations for 4 beats. Similarly, for 5 beats, we can have 8 different combinations. For 8 beats, we can have 13 different combinations. So on and so forth, we can keep deriving these combinations. And if you look at the interesting pattern that evolves, so 8 beats, 34 combinations, 7 beats, 21 combinations, all these can be derived like this. Okay. Now, what does this actually give us? It gives us a pattern 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, so on and so forth, all the way to infinity. This is the series created by and for Chandas Shastra, looking at the nature's progression. From the sunflower to so many things that we see in nature follows this pattern. This pattern was observed in the Chandas Shastra, and the mathematician Pingala, who was a Chandas Shastra Nipuna, he gave us this pattern. Today we call this pattern as Fibonacci series. We call this pattern as Fibonacci series, and this was done in BCE. 200 to 800 BCE is the time that they've written. And not just this, if you've heard of the Matra Meru, if that word is familiar to you, how do you get this in the form of a pyramid? Okay, so there is a derivation which happens here, which is the Matra Meru. Both the sides are all ones. Okay. The middle number becomes the addition of the 2 numbers on top. So here, if you notice, you have 1 and 1, right? So this 1 and 1, you will add it as 2. Then you have 1 to 1. So you will add 2 plus 1 is 3, 2 plus 1 is 3. That is how you keep deriving. And so 1 plus 3 is 4, 3 plus 3 is 6, 3 plus 1 is 4. For example, if we have application, a plus b the whole squared. All of us know it is a square plus b square plus 2ab. Suppose I ask you, what is a plus b to the power of 5? How do we apply the binomial coefficients, right? So here, if you go to the 5th beat row, you will be able to know. So a squared, so it should be 5, 10, 10, 5. Those should be the parameters which come before ab. And you will derive this entire equation from this pyramid. So when this pyramid is given these lines in the cross way, as you see in the second diagram, that results in the Fibonacci series. All this is there in the Bhashyam of Pingala's Chandas Shastra, which was done in the 10th century by Halayuda Kavi. So he had given the commentary for all this, where this entire Matra Meru is mentioned, and Matra Meru closely resembles something else which we use today, if we all are familiar with the concept of that. So this derivation is called as the pyramid. Okay. How was all this possible in the Chandas Shastra? Very interestingly, there are many ways to define anything, because in Sanskritam, we use the attributes or the properties to give the names. The names are based on the functionality that they have or the qualities they possess. Okay. For example, we have 65 words for Bhumi, earth, because of what Bhumi does to us. Okay. So all of us know what all earth does, right? So earth can be something where we are born. It is the wife of Bhagavan Vishnu, Vasundhara. So many different names. Bhumi, Dharani, she bears all of us. Depending on her traits, we can have different names for Mother Earth. Similarly, we can have different names for water. In fact, there are different names for the Go Shabda, I was explaining earlier, right? Of which most of the meanings are used by Swami Vedanta Deshika in Godastuti. So, because there are so many names which can be applied to give different meanings, what happens? The flexibility is there where so many things can be communicated by way of slokas and it can be remembered, and beautiful skills of the poets can also be established in the concept, right? So here let's take one example. Amarakosha is like a thesaurus which combines all these meanings. It combines everything and gives it to us. Nama linganuशासनम nama amarakoshaha. It will say, it will keep giving all the names, the genders of each of the names, and it will tell what it is applied to. Swarga, Anuvargaha, it is about Swarga, what all are there in Swarga, it will go on explaining. As children of this age, kids used to by heart the entire Amarakosha. And then they will have the vocabulary ready for them to apply whenever they want. Okay. So if we look at this was all compiled by Amarasimha. The Amarakosha was compiled by Amarasimha. Let's just take one example. Jala, water. I said water has many different words to use, right? So we can see some of the words here. Jala, Neera today also we use, Neera, Vari, Ambu, Toya. All these are some of the words used for water, depending on why we call it water. Now, Sanskrit vocabulary is so rich that just by adding one akshara, the word can be changed. People use this for Chandas Shastra to make it a poetry. So what happens here? Suppose I use the word ja. Okay, I'm just using ja. I'm going to suffix each of this with ja. What will happen? Jalaja, Neeraja, Varija, Ambuja, Toyaja. What does this communicate? Something which comes from ja. It is born from it. So what happens? What is born from water? Neeraja, lotus. Okay. So all these words, when ja is added, it becomes a name for lotus. So Jalaja, we can see so many people's name. Neeraja means lotus, born from water. Varija, Ambuja, Toyaja, all these mean water, which gives the flexibility for the author to use any of these to match it with the chandas. Instead of ja, suppose I want to use the. What will happen? The means dadati, gives, okay, donates. So what will happen when I add the to it? So Jalada, Neerada, Varida, Ambuda, Toyada, everything will mean cloud, because water is donating to the clouds. Okay, so cloud will give it back as rain. So because we are donating, it becomes a name for the clouds. So Jalada, Neerada, Varida, Ambuda, Toyada, everything means clouds. Just by listening to this 1 minute, all of you will have 15 words in your vocabulary. How is that? That is how straightforward and simple it can be. And very interesting also. So, exactly, very useful for poets. So, ja stands for anything born out of something. And the stands for anything which donates. Now, with the knowledge of Amarakosha, when we know these things, how easily they can expand on the words. So, I'm going to now ask you all a few questions. Okay. Now, born out of Manu, create your word. Born out of Manu. Manuja. So born out of Manu is Manuja. In Tamil we call it Manusha. Manuja is the name in Sanskrit. Okay. Now one who donates money, money lender. For money, dana. What will be the word? Danadha. Danadha means the money lender. So very easily we can come up with so many words, right? Okay. So many like this. I'm just giving you some high level feel of it. So water, jala, neera, vari, ambu, sarasija can also be used, toya. Lotus becomes jalaja, neeraja, varija. Cloud becomes jalada, neerada, varida. So with this Amarakosha and these expansions, so many things are possible. So what were some of the possibilities that we had? Earlier, we learnt about the concept of Katapayadi Sankhya. You remember? So where Katapaya, all these had the numbers of, all the consonants were given numerical values. Now, like that, people observed nature. People had knowledge of a lot of things. So they created numbers based on what they saw and what they learned. For example, ice, 2. Moon, what will be the value? 1 moon. Okay, so you have 1 moon, you have earth, 1 earth, you have 2 ice, weekdays, 7. So like that, they created a lot of numbers for whatever they knew and they saw. So I've given you some of the things that they used. So for example, 3 lokas we say, right? Our loka, the loka above us, the loka below us. Agni, there are 3 kinds of Agni. There are 3 Ramas. What are the 3 Ramas? Parashurama, Sri Rama and Balarama. So we have 3 Ramas. So for 3, they have given a few things. 4, there are 4 Vedas, 4 Yugas, etc. So similarly, let's see for Sapta Swaras, 7 Rishis, 7 Varas. Like this, they gave numerical value to many things. And how did they apply it? Very interesting applications. This is from Aryabhatiyam. Aryabhatta is known for a lot of astronomical compilation. Now, in his Aryabhatiyam, it's very mathematical also. Just, as a fleeting statement, he mentions this sloka. And what is this sloka? This says about the revolution of Jupiter. He gives a numerical value to it by using what we informed just now. That is called as the Bhuta Sankhya. The Sankhya based on what we see and what we know, applying that to create slokas. Okay. So applying Bhuta Sankhya. So he said the revolutions of Jupiter multiplied by the number of signs are the years of Jupiter called Ashvayuja. So he speaks about Jupiter's revolutions, right? And he says the number of revolutions, his revolutions are equal to the number of jinas. Jinas means Tirthankars, which is 24, a couple, the Vedas, the seasons, and the fires. So the value that he comes out with is 242463, and this is encrypted. So we have to read it in the reverse order. So what is the value that he comes up with here? The value is 364224. So that is the outcome which Aryabhatta casually mentions, creating numbers in his sloka. Now, how is this relevant to us? Very interestingly, Aryabhatta says that Jupiter completes the 364 224 side real revolutions in 4,32,000, 43,20,000 years, which means his data is 11.86 years per revolution of the Jupiter. What is the current value? The same thing. Scientific value that is mentioned today is also 11.862 years. So he mentions this in his Aryabhati as a sloka format using the Bhuta Sankhya. So much of information is available and people go do research to find all these out, investing so much. It is all there in our text. That is our eternal wisdom. Right? So Jupiter's value, according to Aryabhatta, 11.862. Modern astronomy also says 11.862. Yeah. Now, we have a lot of numerical representations like this in our slokas. We all know about the Mahabharata, right? In Mahabharata, we speak about the Sainya, the army, size of the army. We use the term Akshauhini when we speak about the army. So what is Akshauhini? Akshauhini army uses these kind of huge numbers to represent it. So here, if you look at it, we have the Ratha, Gaja, Turaga, Padangi, the foot soldiers, the elephants, the horses, infantry, everybody added together forms the Akshauhini. And there is a ratio of 1:1:3:5, which has to be maintained all the time. So if you notice the very last line, if we just go to the compilation, the last line alone I will explain. The Mahasenapati, who is in charge of the Akshauhini, should have 21,870 Ratha and Gaja times 3, which is 65,610 Turanga, and times 5 of the Ratha, 10,000, 1,09,350 infantry. This together is one Akshauhini Sena. How many Akshauhinis was used during the Mahabharata? We had 11 Akshauhinis in the Kaurava Paksha and 7 Akshauhinis in the Pandava Paksha, 18 Akshauhini Senas. Think of the size of the army that was there. And all these was represented in the form of slokas in this meter. So that was the kind of Chandas application that we had, right? One interesting sloka. With this, I think I will wrap up for the day. There's a lot about Chanda Shastra. We will continue that in the next session also. So, the Valmiki Ramayana, I said, is the Adi Kavyam, right? Did he have numbers being used in that? Of course, he had. What kind of numbers did Valmiki Maharishi use? That should be very interesting, right? And I was mentioning about the Akshauhini in, Mahabharata Yuddha. What happened in Valmiki's Ramayana? How is the explanation given? So Valmiki Maharishi in his Yuddha Ganda, starting from 6:28:34, that is the 34th sloka, 33rd sloka he actually starts, and he goes all the way till 40th sloka. And he's made this like a hasya rasa, something where we look at it and we laugh, he's created it in that mood. So what does he say? There are two people from Ravana's army who go into observe what is happening in Rama's place. How big is the army size? They observe everything, go and report it back to Ravana. And the way they are reporting is as if they are, speaking so proudly about Rama's Sena. This kind of Sena is there, that kind of Sena is there. It's so huge, that's so huge and everything. And they say that, don't tremble, be careful, O Ravana. Ravana is not able to tolerate this kind of language and he fires them. So that's the way the entire structure is made, and it's in the very hilarious tone that Valmiki Maharishi is used. But if you look at the content, such huge numbers are used to demonstrate the greatness. So just check this out. So what happens is he uses one sloka. Shatam shatasahasranam koti mahur manishinaha shatam koti Sahasranam Shanku Ityabhidiyate. It is said by wise men that 100,000 crores multiplied by 100,000 crores as Shanka. So they define each of these values like this. Okay. So we have Koti, Shanka, Mahashanka, Brinda, Mahabrinda, Padma, Mahapadma, Karva, Mahakarva, Samudra, Ogha and Maha-Ogha. All these are definitions of the size of numbers. Okay, 10 to the power of 62 and all is mentioned. And what is the derivation from here? They say that, look at the size of the army. They have 1,000 Shankas, 100,000 Mahashankas, 100 Vrindas, 1,000 Mahavrindas, 100 Padmas, 1,000 Mahapadmas, 100 Karvas. Similarly, by 100 Ogas, 100 crore Mahayogas of monkeys, in addition to Vibhishana, Sugriva, every others, that's a huge army that is there. That was the explanation given. So when we add this, what kind of number will come? So it's basically 10 to the power of 10 plus 10 to the power of 12 plus 14 plus so on till 10 to the power of 62 added. So that is the size that Valmiki Maharishi explains in Valmiki Ramayana, Adi Kavya, Treta Yuga Kavya. So they were so well versed in numbers, utilizing this for the different levels that was here. So this is one interesting thing. So let's finish it with a dash. This sloka is from the Brihad Vaimana Shastra. Vaimanika Shastra is about all the aircrafts that we have, Vimanas, right? So it is, this says that The number of comets, we know about the comets. This speaks about the number of comets in the 8th level of celestial sphere. So what is the number? 30703221. Among this 8,000 comets are very fearful, it seems. Sitting here, they write about the number of comets, they write about the capacity, the intensity of the comets, and for this they use the meters, the chandas, to apply this in a poetic format so that people will remember it. So we will continue with many other interesting aspects of Chanda Shastra in the next session. Kayena vacha manasendriyaiva buddhyatmana va prakrite svabhavat karomi yatyat sakalam parasmai narayana yeti samarpayami sarvam Shri Krishnarpanamastu.